Hello, guys. Welcome to the Three Hammers podcast, episode 107. We're very, very lucky. We're joined by Hammers United committee member Andy Byrne. Spoke really, really well on his West Ham Fan TV interview and also on his Knees Up Mother brand. He did with Graham there, another guy we had on the show a few weeks ago. Absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. Andy, welcome to the show, mate. Can I start off by saying amazing what happened at the weekend with the protest. For anyone who don't know you, mate, please introduce yourself, mate. The stage is yours.
Andy Byrne is how you say it.
Did I pronounce it wrong? Sorry, mate.
Yeah. So I just introduced myself to you first of all. But no, I'm all good, mate. Thanks very much for having me on. Really, really chuffed about it went the weekend. It's great to hear. It's great to hear so much positive feedback. So many people encouraged by coming together and encouraged by where that could take us, really.
Yeah, the looks of it, mate. Thousands and thousands of people there. I'm just going to flash a picture up for anyone watching. That Greenway, I don't think you could fit any more people in there, mate, if you tried. I really don't.
Sorry, mate, I didn't catch a word of that.
I was saying Greenway, mate, there was so many people there. I don't think you could fit any more people in there, even if you tried, mate.
Yeah, so we were a bit nervous actually before we got people together, because you just can't tell, like I said on West Ham Fan TV, you can't tell when you're immersed in these things. When you're immersed in Twitter and Facebook and the website every day, and you're constantly just putting messages out, and you do a lot of talking to people you know will be there and you know will support you. You just got no sense of really the reach, and how wide it's getting, and how much of the fan base you're reaching out to. And I couldn't believe how many people was there from Plasto. So we was in the community centre early, and then we went round to the Vic. And looking at some of the pictures of people walking on for the Vic, there must have been thousands there, just even at Plasto, and then more joined at West Ham, more joined at Stratford. So we've got a guy who did some drone footage for us, and he's done the density calculations on that, and he reckons at the peak, as we were coming past Pudding Mill Lane, he reckons there's about 8,000 people there, which is unbelievable. Wow,
yeah, that's amazing. Obviously, you say there you didn't really know what to expect. Were you surprised by just the sheer numbers? Did you what sort of numbers were you expecting yourself? Did you think it'd just be a couple hundred? Do you think it would maybe be sort of 2,000 again? Did you ever think that it would go that big, that it would get that massive amount of support? No, I think he's gone.
I think we've lost him there, guys. Obviously, he's in a car.
We could have.
He's mobile, so if he does come back,
really nervous about calling that first protest. We spoke about it for a long time, and we had many meetings. We were to and fro in between. Do we go? If you look back to December, I don't think that many people would have heard of Hammers United. We had a few thousand members, and we were growing steadily. And we were at that point. Our reach was our Facebook group, and our campaign was letters to the board. And we had an initial meeting with a supporter liaison officer, which we felt actually didn't go too bad. And so we were toing and froing between, and that was around the time that Pellegrini got sacked and Moyes came back in. And we were being put under, not necessarily being put under pressure, but a lot of calls to protest. And we were saying, if we call this and people don't turn up, we're going to look stupid. It's we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot if we call this and no one turns up. So I remember calling the first one on the 18th of January. We were talking amongst ourselves saying, if we get 500, are we going to be happy? If we get 500, are we happy? If we get 500, does at least show that we've got some sense of support here, that we can galvanise the fan base in some way. By all accounts, there were 2,000 there on the 18th of January, and that really is and it really took off from there. And that's when we heard back from the supporter liaison officer after our first meeting. And without going into too much detail, I shall say mixed messages is what I should say. After the first meeting that was quite positive, the after the support and liaison officer had gone back to the club, the message that came back to us was certainly not the message that we had been given in our initial meeting, which is what led us to then think, right, okay, the board they're not going to, off the back of this first protest on the 18th of January, they're not going to say to us, right, okay, we'll engage them. That became quite clear from the call that we got after the 18th of Jan. And so then we thought, right, okay, let's, we have to plan another one. And it took a lot of work behind the scenes. People, I think, were kind of galvanized by the one on the 18th of Jan. And we're saying, we want to do another one, but when can we do it? Can we do something inside the ground? Can we do lots of ideas coming our way? And if, it doesn't seem like a lot to be able to put out on Facebook and say, right, guys, meet at this time. We're gonna walk along the Greenway. But the hours and hours of graft that have gone in behind the scenes to get that into place, it will be until that time. And we're kind of glad that we did. We gave the club the chance to engage. We were putting out olive branches on a regular basis. And we were asking them to do things for the fans and to show that they're willing to get on board. And I guess in that time period, they've kind of shot themselves in the foot, really, the way that they've responded to everything. And to get the numbers that we got on the Greenway is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Do you think now I mean, I don't know if they've reached out again after the protest at the weekend. Do you think it's too late now? Do you think it's past that? Do you think it's going to be too little, too late? Or do you think there is hope for a sort of understanding?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fan base in general kind of flips and flops between. Hold on a minute. Is there hope with these people, or is it too late? Now, I think we have probably a hardcore of our fan base who would have made their mind up, perhaps even before Gold and Sullivan joined. A hardcore of our fan base who would have heard the stories from Birmingham and who would have said straight away in 2010, we don't want these people, and they never would have changed their viewpoint since then. I then think we had another kind of sway who would have been quite frustrated with the way that the move was managed. So I think there was another sway of people. Trust was lost after the move, after the way the move happened. So in terms of your question, I can answer it personally, and I can answer it from a Hammers United stance as well. So Hammers United stance is now quite clear, and that is they lobbied the club for dialogue for most of the year, and our terms for dialogue we felt were quite reasonable, which was we would like a meeting as the independent supporters group for the FSA representative in the room. If it's going to be a transparent meeting, they have nothing to hide. There's no reason why an FSA representative shouldn't be present, and we would like to meet outside the official supporters board, which is a construct created by the club for the club. Now, Hammers United, when those terms weren't met time and time again, and not just those terms weren't met, when we were actually met with kind of a hostile approach from the club, where they've then gone on the offensive and tried to almost take us apart in a sense. That has led Hammers United to believe that these people can't be dealt with and that we need new ownership at the club. Now, from my point of view, I like to think a little bit. I'm a little bit of kind of an idealistic and a little bit of
Again, guys, really scratchy line with Andy there. He's talking some really good stuff there, but I can understand there's a few people.
Now, I've recently pulled up. Right?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, you just cut out for a little bit there. Cut out for a tiny bit there.
Yeah, no. So I was just saying, from a philosophical and an idealistic point of view, you could take any single issue you want, and you can slice it both ways. So you can have people that will say for the club, and people that will say no, that's terrible. So if I pick any issue at random, let's say the £99 season tickets. Some people will say that's fantastic. I can make my family for a cheaper price. I like what the board done there. I can't believe what they told us we were buying. I can't believe they said this would be easy to upgrade. You can just buy a +1. They were conning us. They were getting it. They were trying to get extra money. So any issue you want, you can slice it both ways. The way I look at it from like I say, a philosophical and idealistic point of view is, you look at this as in the kind of, in a crude business sense. If you say the football club is a business. Now, personally, I'm not happy that the owners of that business are giving consideration to customer care. Viewing this. Now, I'm not naive enough to think that any owner genuinely cares about what the customers of their business actually think or feel. Didn't bring comfortable seating in because they want their customers to be more comfortable. They brought comfortable seating in because they know at the end of the day it's going to sell them more burgers. But the byproduct of bringing that comfortable seating in is that a McDonald's customer, someone fanatical about McDonald's, now gets a better experience at McDonald's. So I'm not to believe that any football owners will really sit there. We love our fans. We want to do everything for us because they're the heart and soul of our club. However, the football owner has got any sense about them. I think they, if actually do things for our fans, and if we do put our fans first, and if we do think about our fans, and if we do make it out that we care about our fans a little bit, they might actually get a better experience and spend some more money and better experience in the run. So I was talking to someone at the weekend who's telling me about some research on it was a journalist, from Germany, who was saying that the latest research on ground redevelopment shows that you should revamp the ground within the area where it was first built. You shouldn't move out of town. It also shows that you should to excessive size or capacity. Now, the theory behind that is actually eventually, if you're seen to be a club that is in touch with the roots of its community and a club that can generate an atmosphere, rather than developing it on a purely business plan that says out of town, easier to get to, more seats. So if you look at, for example, what they've done at Anfield, they portray themselves in the public image, in public view, as clubs that have, the bank of fans behind the goal, the flags, they're in touch with their community. I'm sure the owners don't care. I'm sure the owners don't care whether they're but publicly they portray themselves as a club that is at the heart of their community and that has not gone down the road of out of town stadium and a big philosophical stance, point of view. I would like to have owners who at least portray themselves as owners that care about, for want of a better phrase, the customer, and owners that actually want to link in and do something, for want of a better phrase, that customer.
Yeah, mate, definitely. Andy, I'm going to have to leave it there for you, mate, because the stream is really, really bad, and the people watching in the chat are saying that they're finding it really, really hard to hear what you're saying. So I'll leave you there, mate. I really appreciate that you came on, and we'll try and get you on for a better line later, if that's okay. If maybe when you get home or whatever like that, if you try again, is that okay, mate?
Yeah, it's no worries.
Cheers for that.
There's no problem.
Thank you very much.
So you want to try?
Really appreciate. Yeah, if we're still on, mate, just click that link again, and we'll try and get you on then. Thanks a lot, mate. See you in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we apologise there, guys. Obviously, Andy talking some really good stuff. I couldn't quite make out what he was saying there. I don't know whether you could fully make it out either, Paul. Could you make it out totally there? Yeah,
no. I get what he was saying. He's basically saying about the I think exactly the same as what we all want. For anyone who's just joining us in the chat, that was Andy from Hammers United. Obviously, the guys, main guys behind organising the protests and everything. And basically, the message is we just want owners that care about the club. We want owners that are putting the fans' best interest first. And I think I can see comments in the chat there. One from Gary saying that if we were Champions League, would people care about the state of the stadium? Obviously, when we're winning games, when things are going well, yeah, obviously everything's a little bit better. Obviously everything's a little bit nicer when things are going well and we're winning games. But then problems are still there. They're still in the background. The good times they're not going to last forever. And all it takes is 1 or 2 losses, and then all of a sudden you're all back to how bad the stadium is. I see, if you're not even from a fan's point of view, even from a commercial point of view with the stadium, if you're corporate, right? If you're running a business and you're getting a box and you're taking clients and all the rest of it, you want to take them to a football game, and your box looks over scaffolding and a massive gap where you can see the concrete permanent seats underneath. It's shocking. It's poor. So I think even if we were winning, even if we were winning a league, if we were in Champions League, if we were playing in Europe, I still don't think those, it's always going to be a little bit better, but I don't think those problems are going to completely go away at all.
Very true, mate. On the protest, obviously, what is your opinion on it now, mate? Obviously now, and he's not here to join us. Unfortunately, I'm really, really gutted, actually. Huge success, though, no? Huge, mate.
Massive success, mate. Yeah, massive huge success. And it's great to see.
Just going to flash that picture up again, mate. Sorry, you can commentate over it. Go on.
No, it was fantastic to see. I mean, you look at that, and it's amazing. It's great to see. If you go back a couple of months, we were discussing on here whether that heart was still there, whether the fans still had it in them to get together like this, and I wasn't sure. But I tell you, mate, they've proved me wrong massively, because 100%, and I've seen people saying the same thing, but we're just showing the club's still alive. The fans are still there. We've still got a voice, and it's amazing things. Hopefully it has the right outcome. I don't know. I still ain't convinced that they're going to sell up just off the back of it.
I was going to ask Andy, actually, because one of the things that Andy did say on his both his interviews, West Ham Fan TV and what was the other one, Knees Up Mother Brown, he said, he was asked, like, what is your motive now going forward? What is Hammers United's motive? And he said, we carry on until they go now. No, they can't change anything would make us happy now. Want them to go. And I quite, again, that's why I invited him on, because I really liked what he said there. Like you say, mate, do you think that can happen, or do you think they can realistically achieve that goal up?
I don't know. I mean, there's going to be a breaking point for everybody, but I still think they're probably going to try and hold on till, 2023, when the clause runs out, which means they could then sell the club without having to pay any money to the government. I think they're still going to try and hold on to that as much as they can.
That as well, mate. I heard that as well. So important, mate. Yeah, they want fan representation on any new board, apparently, as well.
See, the problem is though, and so the OSP.
We've got Andy. We have got Andy back, mate. We've got him on camera. Hello, Andy, mate. Hopefully this is a slightly better line. Hello. Yeah. Apologies for what happened there, mate. It was such a bad line, and we had people in the chat going, we can't really hear him. And I wanted to give you a fair representation of yourself, mate, to be honest with you. Yeah, we were just discussing, mate. A lot better, mate. A lot better, yeah. We were just saying, mate, cool. What was said yourself about Hammers United's motive now is obviously want them out of the club now, and there's nothing that they can change. Do you want to sort of explore that a little bit more? Just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
That's a long time about that now.
Yeah. So that stance has kind of come from the journey that Hammers United have been on themselves. So in the journey that Hammers United have been on themselves, we've learned quite a lot about the way that the board operate. So when we started this journey, which was March 2019, we all had our own individual stances, obviously, and by March 2019, a lot of people would have wanted them gone. A lot of people would have already had enough. As an independent supporters group, we kind of approached it in a way that we thought was best, and we asked our members at the time what they thought was best. So our approach from the start was one of dialogue. Now, to be honest, what's led us to this point is our experience of how the club have managed us as a group, and then our experience of what's happened since our group has become a little bit more public. So, you know, the FSA have guidelines, not rules, but they have guidelines over how clubs should engage with independent supporters groups. Now, the club navigate those guidelines. They use the official supporters board to make sure that they just about meet those guidelines. Now, the official support board is not affiliated to the Football Supporters Association. However, there's no law to say that the club can't use an official supporters board. But what we've found that during our year of trying to engage with the club is that what seems to be most important to the club is that they can control the messaging so that their revenue streams aren't affected. They don't seem to be interested in I mean, I don't know how much you heard of what I was saying before about owners of business who obviously are not going to genuinely care about how the customer feels. However, our owners don't seem to be interested in even giving any lip service to how the customer feels. So if they were interested, I believe that they would have said to us, okay, you clearly built up a kind of quite established membership. You've clearly got quite a reach across the fan base. You're affiliated. You've got a committee. You know, you've gone through things the right way. If they were at all interested in even just paying lip service, they would have said, right, okay, yeah, guys, let's sit down. Let's have a meeting. We'll listen to you. We'll take your points on board. You know, we'll go away. We'll think about them. We'll get back to you. But because they're so they don't think anything threatens them until it perhaps really does threaten them, you know.
I was going to say
very confident.
Yeah, exactly, mate. I was going to say, just while you were saying that, I remember I'm very active. Well, I say I'm active. I'm always on Knees Up Mother Brown, reading that forum all the time. And I remember when Amage United first popped up on Knees Up Mother Brown, you know, drumming up support initially. And I definitely get that feeling that the club, I definitely don't think the club took it seriously. I really don't, especially after what happened previously, you know, with the foul protest and all the rest of it, how they managed to overcome that. 100%, mate. I think they had that feeling that they were invincible, maybe. That you know, Amage United were just a little group.
The way that they've dealt with us, it strikes me that they're very arrogant. So, I mean, first of all, which other boards in the country would you really know that much about the people who own the club? So which other boards in the country have somebody, you know, who's on Twitter the whole time? Which other board members in the country are constantly on Twitter? Which other board members in the country will purchase them along to the training ground because they like the player? Which other board members don't bother to have a scouting network because they think they can scout themselves? Which other board members demand apologies from sites? What's kind of struck me over the year that we've been dealing with them is that they want to control the messaging. Anytime they feel threatened about controlling the messaging, they will go on and try and control it some more. So they might ban a few more people if they feel like they're getting to them. They might reduce ticket allocation if they feel like there's going to be a protest. They might, I mean, what they've done recently, the messaging that they were controlling was through the official supporters board. They then decided, can if support last minute, and I know for a fact people on the official supporters board were not happy with that. So what the club will do is they will cast them aside. They will make a new official supporters board, but they will then say it's a new democratic. They will use that to control the messaging, and when they're done with it, they'll cast them aside and they'll make a new one. It's them. It is all about control, and that control only comes into play when they think something is about to damage a revenue stream for them.
Yeah, you've definitely gotten rattled. That's really clear that you've gotten rattled. Obviously, like you say, mate, they're trying to censor the media. They're trying to allegedly. I'm going to use the word allegedly, so I don't get in any trouble. Yeah, mate, you've got them rattled. And there was also something you said about you'd like fan representation on the board for any takeover that potentially did happen. Do you think you've got a chance of possibly doing that if the takeover was to happen? You think you could be successful there?
So in terms of kind of what comes next, what we have some months. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, mate, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good, mate. Yeah.
What we're going to be doing over the next few weeks and months is just starting to drip feed our message out there about what our kind of vision for the future might be. So I think what's been very important in the first phase of this process has been to show the extent of the support for GSB out. Very important to show how that reaches from young to old, from male to female, across the fan base. 8,000 people walking together to show that they want GSB out. But we know that that's not going to happen easily. Our messaging is not aligned, and if we're not ahead of the curve, then we'll start to get picked apart on that. Your messaging can't simply be GSB out. It can't be as simple as that. So, well, as a group, we have plans in the next few weeks, the next few months, to start to introduce into the wider realm what is our vision, where could this go, how could the club progress. And one of the ideas that we quite like as a group is the idea of long-lasting fan representation on the board. Something similar, I believe, was done at Portsmouth when they were going through their kind of protests and like trying to restructure the club. Now, if we get to a point much further down the line where some group, doesn't have to be Hammers United, could be anyone or anything, a group that truly represents the fans, has some kind of seat in that boardroom, some kind of place, some kind of ownership in that club. How that comes about and what that, exactly what that looks like, I don't have all those answers yet, but that's kind of in our thinking at the minute, as a way to ensure that something like this never happens. For to come, consideration is always given to the opinions of fans. So there's always a thought behind everything that's done at the club. There's always a thought, but how would this be received by the fans? But how would the fans react to this? There's always somebody in that boardroom that's saying, "Come on, guys, we've got to think of the fans on this." Yeah. So if the conversation goes, "Well, we can't afford to take the bigger allocation at Liverpool," the person who's sitting there representing the fans will say, "I'm telling you, they'll sell out. I'm telling you, there's 3,000 people that want to go to Liverpool. I'm telling you, if you lose £1,000 on this, in the long run, it's still a sound business decision because you want to keep your away support on side." So we want somebody in the room long term who looks at everything through the lens of a fan.
Okay, mate. One of your taglines, mate, I think this slides really nice into the next section, is support the team, not the regime. And it certainly worked, mate, on Saturday. Let's talk about it. So West Ham 3, Southampton 1. What I really like about this whole movement, it's all peaceful, all calm. As soon as you walked into that stadium, I don't know, it had a feel of like Upton Park vibe of the walking down Barking Road. Like that Green Street thing. There was that real family vibe there. Anyone who's been went to the protest in my work said they had that real nice vibe, and I think that transferred into the stadium for the first time in a long, long time.
Do you know what? That's so I'll pick up on two things you touched on there. So one, a really nice product of doing this is that I've enjoyed going to home games. on a personal note, I really enjoyed like having a few beers in Plaistow and walking down the Greenway with 8,000 like-minded people. So a really nice byproduct of what we're doing is that it kind of feels like it's brought people together, even though it might not be over a cause that you want to be brought together over. It's brought people together. And I was talking to someone on Saturday, and I kind of said, actually, now I think about it, that's actually really what football's about. Football is about bringing people together, because when you look at it in its simplest sense, you say football's about 22 people kicking a ball around a field, it sounds stupid and it sounds ridiculous that people get so passionate over 22 people kicking a ball around a field. But it's so what it is football's about coming together and about sharing emotions together, about getting behind a common cause. And the euphoria of scoring a goal, the disappointment of losing, and the wash up that you have in the pub afterwards, where you talk it through with your mates all evening. And it kind of, since we've been doing this, it's felt like people together, which has been an absolutely fantastic feeling just for me personally. And then the thing that you mentioned about positioning it so it's support the team and not the regime. I mean, my dad and his family, they're all from Coventry, so I've heard support the team and not the regime for years. But it was so important to us, and we took a lot of flack when we announced the first protest, because people said, you cannot do this, it is going to affect the team. So it has been so we've been bowled over by how clear cut people have been able to do that. Like I spoke about Liverpool on Stand Fan TV when the protest against Liverpool was inside the ground. So again, we're really worried, because we're thinking, if this spills over, if people carry on with their banners up, and if we go one goal down, this could turn really nasty inside the ground.
A bit nasty, yeah.
So we've been bowled over with how people have been able to manage that. But on reflection, I kind of think, and this is going to sound silly, but I kind of think the protests have improved the atmosphere in the ground.
That's what I picked up on watching it. I'm telling you, it felt happier.
Yeah.
It felt happy in there.
Yeah, because you don't carry frustration into the 90 minutes. So I think people have been, the other criticism that has been leveled at us is that this is results based. Now, when it's not results based, but if you're behind in a game and you're already frustrated about what's going on with the board, what you're likely to do is vent that frustration at the fact that you're losing. The frustration doesn't come from the result. You're not frustrated with your club because you're losing the game, but what you'll do is just start singing anti-board songs or having a go at the players, because there is a deep-rooted frustration with the club. Now, if we are able to allow fans to channel that frustration before a game, and to channel that frustration week in, week out, and for them to feel as though they are united in the channeling of that frustration, and the channeling of that frustration is being heard and is having some effect, why would you ever carry that over into a ground? In fact, you're going to feel better when you go into the ground, and you're going to think, right, I'm up for 90 minutes of football now. And I actually felt that. I actually felt that at Everton. I felt that at Anfield, and I felt that against Southampton.
Yeah, mate, definitely. Paul, on the game then, mate. What did you make, mate, of the new boy, Bowen? What a player. I'll let you have a go, Paul.
Yeah, no, brilliant. First of all, fantastic. Really, really good. Much better lineup, much better team. It was probably the team I think most fans would have picked. But yeah, Bowen, mate, he looked really, really good. The biggest thing that struck me about him is the runs that he makes. He makes those runs between the defenders that nobody else on our team seems to make. And obviously his goal come from that. But he looks really good, really promising. The only frustrating thing is, why has it been left this? Like, why has he been sitting on the bench up until now? I don't know why he hasn't been starting. I don't buy the old, he's come from the Championship in his time. I don't really buy that from Moyes. But yeah, he looks great, and it was really, really good result, really, really good result, and we needed it. This was a must-win game.
I think Funnels as well, mate. I think, again, it's all the question marks of why he's been left out of the team as well. 2 assists.
Exactly.
Obviously got his goal at Anfield as well. It's a really, really good performance all over the pitch. Obviously, it's been talked about a lot. But Anyone really impress you, Andy, from that game? Who
Oh,
sticks out to
I
you?
have to say Jared. I have to say Jared Bowen as well, mate. Absolute class. He and you hit the nail on the head with formation. I mean, what is it? Haller wins the most flick-ons in the Premier League, and he's been playing up front on his own all season. And and Antonio's a beast. He is,
mate. He is.
Like,
Technically terrible. I can see there
yeah.
from your t-shirt, mate. You're a PE teacher as well, like me.
Yeah.
Technically, one of the worst players I've ever seen. But you've always got to have a guy like that in your team.
It reminds me of Marlon Harewood, like how Marlon Harewood would just because I worked in Camden where Marlon Harewood was kind of first discovered, and he was known as a sprinter, and he was a sprinter who was converted into a football player, and you could see that when he played, But he was a beast. He was a beast, and Antonio's the same. When I used to play, I played at the back. And the one thing I hated playing against was pace. I hated playing against someone with pace.
And he's powerful as well, obviously, as well.
Yeah,
he's big lad, he's powerful.
He's strong. He knocks people about for fun. And when you've got him and Haller occupying those centre backs, that allows people like Bowen or Fornals or Anderson or Lanzini or whoever it might be, that allows them to come into the game and affect the game. When you've got Haller isolated on his own, being dealt with by one or two centre backs, the other players, I feel it affects their game if the ball is not sticking up top, and if the centre halves are not occupying the centre backs and the full backs.
That's it. And with Haller up top by himself for so much of the season, like you say, mate, it's so easy for defenders to mark. With Antonio doing something, Bowen doing something, these defenders, they can't think too quick. They've got to think about what he's doing. But one player we haven't mentioned, we've got to give him some credit, Ngakia, mate. He's just been, he's come in and he reminds me of when Glenn Johnson come in. Obviously, I'm not hoping for the same result. We went down that year. But, he's give us some positivity, another young player that's come through. I'll let you talk first, Paul, mate. What did you make of his performance? Obviously, this was a bigger test, obviously. We've seen him against Liverpool and City. What did you make, mate, of it? And Paul, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, same again, mate. I mean, he looks comfortable considering. I thought I was reasonably clued up on the youth team players, and he seemed to just come out of nowhere for me. When he was put into the lineup against Liverpool the first time, everyone was saying the same thing. Who's this kid? But he slotted right in, and I've seen a couple of interviews with him since then, and he's talking really well. Just saying he wants to make that his spot. He wants to make it difficult for it to be taken off him. And he's going about it exactly the right way. Obviously, he's young, he's pacey. Zabaletta's legs ain't obviously what they were. And I think with him and Fredericks, there's a really, really good sort of battle there to keep that right back spot. And for me, 100% now, that's his place to lose. Definitely. Like we said this last time as well, I don't like building up the kids too much. You don't want to you don't want to put too much expectation on him. You don't want to overhype him too much. But yeah, it's a fantastic start to his West Ham career, and long may it continue.
About you, Andy, mate, what do you make of the new young boy?
Brilliant, mate. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think, it's like Paul says, you don't want to, when a young player comes through, you can get very excited at first and think, brilliant player, he's going to be absolutely fantastic, and then you see a lot of them fall by the wayside and disappear. But he's been brilliant. But just, I've got to say, if you're playing two up front, it does expose your central midfield slightly more than if you have one in behind. And I thought Declan Noble, Mark Rice. Declan Noble, Mark Rice? Do you know what? Yeah, that would make a good partnership, wouldn't it? I'll tell you, that'd be a perfect partnership. Declan Noble and Mark Rice. Yeah, but no, sorry. Declan Rice and Mark Noble, I thought were absolutely phenomenal. I do not understand why people give Noble stick. I do not get it. We are never, first of all, on the club side, we're never going to have another player like him, probably in my lifetime, who's been at the club and played as many games. We're not going to get
someone that long again, I don't think. No.
And you watch what he does, and he knows exactly what he's good at and what he's not good at. He knows what he's good at and what he's not good at. He'll get the ball with his back to play. He's confident. He'll receive it off the centre halves. He'll get us playing, and he won't try anything he can't do. And Declan Rice alongside him he's
been
phenomenal.
magnificent. Last
I
five,
absolutely
six
love the
games,
bloke.
he's
He's
been
brilliant.
magnificent.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. A lot. And like I say, I
remember
really
watching
hope
him.
we see him next year. I really hope he's still in a West Ham shirt next year. Yeah.
I know. I mean, his first game where he played, defensive centre field was away at Anfield in the first game of the season last season, and he got dragged off at half time. And I watched him that game. And I said to my mate at half time, I said, he's done. Like his confidence looks shot. He didn't want the ball.
Yeah.
I said he can't play there. He's not going to play. I said,
remember the St James's game as well, where he passed the ball back and it led to a goal as well. Do you remember that one? And again, he got dragged off. We didn't see him for about 3 games.
Yeah. Well, I thought at that point, after watching him against Liverpool, I thought he's never going to play defensive centre midfield. I thought he's only going to be able to be a centre back ever. And I thought we won't see him in the first team again for a long time after that performance. I'll tell you what, like he proved me wrong big time. He is brilliant, that kid. He is absolutely brilliant. And what I love about him as well is, I mean, I know he's a young kid, so he obviously loves doing this, but he always comes over to the fans every single away game. Yeah. Whether we've whatever the result is, he's over there with the fans every single away game. And you can tell in the goals that he's scored how much he loves it. And that just kind of endears him to the fans even more.
Starting to carry the ball as well now, and he's starting to actually the ball and actually drive with it now, and that's having like Souček the last couple of games. Obviously, Noble's provided him with that opportunity to go forward, and it's just making him a better player in these sort of
I've got a mate actually who's a scout. I mean, you won't be pleased to hear this, but he was sent to watch Declan Rice earlier in the season, and I was chatting to him after the game about Declan Rice, and he said that's the one thing he hasn't got in his game. He said he doesn't go forward quick enough. He doesn't drive forward quick enough, and he can't play enough kind of cutting passes quick enough. He said his game's too simple. It doesn't, because for a defensive midfielder these days, you've got to be the complete package to be able to play at a top club. So you look at defensive midfielders who play at the top level, they can turn defence into attack very quickly if they get the opportunity. And I think Declan Rice has started to do that now.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think he got some harsh criticism after the England game, didn't he? Saying, if that was Kevin De Bruyne pings that pass out to Sterling.
I
think you forget how old he is. You know what I mean? The geezer's only just turned 20, isn't he?
Yeah. And the fact that most of his career has played as centre half.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it's the CDM role, that central defensive midfield role. That takes time to develop that role. Sort of coming to their prime when they're sort of about 25, 26. Like Fabinho's, Kante's. I'm thinking.
Yeah, and if you look at the difference between him, Liverpool away first game of the season last season, and Liverpool away this season, for example. Look at how much he's learned in just over a year, and think about how good he's going to be in another 2 years or 3 years when he learns that role. He is phenomenal, and I just pray that we have him at the club next season.
Yeah, mate. My fear is, even if we stay up, if we have good Euros, England, and he has a good Euros, I can't see him staying at the club. I really hope I'm wrong. Doesn't need to go yet. He could stay with us for another 3 years. He'll still only be 23 and then move. But that is my fear with him. Definitely my fear with Big Dex. So great result. We'll move on very quickly because we've run out of time. So Arsenal weekend. Last time we played them, we lost 3-1. Obviously to the worst Arsenal team I've seen in about 20 years. I don't know how we lost that game actually. And look at that. Last time at the Emirates we lost 3-1 as well. They did win the other night. They beat Portsmouth 2-0 in the FA Cup. They're currently 10th, which is terrible for them. 37 points, and obviously their top goal scorer for me, their only danger man, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Do you think, guys? I think we can get a draw there, and possibly if we play like we've been playing, we may even beat them. A lot of Arsenal fans I work with, they've been really, really negative, but when are Arsenal fans positive? What do you think, Andy, mate? Do you think we can get something there? I think we've got a good chance. I think we've got a chance.
Do you know what? This is one where I cannot call it. I just think this is going to be. I think it's going to be 2 even teams. I think it could be a good game. I think this. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 3-1 West Ham. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 3-1 Arsenal, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a 2-2.
I know
it doesn't answer your question.
I don't know, but I know exactly what you're saying, mate. I think both got Well, Santa, our defence has been a little bit better last games. Their defence is shocking on it sometimes. You know, David Luiz can be absolutely shocking sometimes. Again, it's that potent attack. You know, they've got ace there. That Martinelli's really come on for them, the young boy. See, Aubameyang, Lacazette's good for a goal as well. Like I said, I think it'll be full of goals. I really, really do. What about you, Paul?
I agree, mate. I think because of that, because their defence can be a bit shaky, I think we can get them. You know, it all depends on what we do. If we go like we did against Southampton, and we've got Antonio and Aller running and pressing that defence, 100%, I think we can get a result. 100%, as long as we don't sort of fade back and try and sit back a bit more and go a bit more defensive, then I think we'll be in trouble. I think if we go for it, this is definitely a game. I think we have to just go for it. We have to go for it, and if we do, I think we'll get a result.
I'm going to flash up the Arsenal team. I hope Andy will be able to see it as well. Can you see that, Andy, mate? Can you see that picture at all?
I'll have a closer look.
Yeah. So
no, carry on.
No worries. I'll go for it. So obviously, Lacazette, Martinelli, Willock, Aubameyang. Is there anyone you really fear in there? Is there anyone you feel we can get at as well in terms as well? So Aubameyang obviously is obvious, and on his day he's one of the best strikers in the league.
I think, like you said, I think if our back four is on, is on song, I think we're good enough to keep them out. But I won't be surprised if there's goals at either end. But I think for this, it does come down to our formation more than anything. And for me, just like Paul said, it's key to if we play two up front and we go for it, I think we've got a real chance. If we approach it like Man City, we might as well not bother. So I think it really is going to come down to how we set up and how we approach the game. And like I said before, I mean, irrespective of league position, I actually think these will be two really evenly matched teams.
They've not had a good season at all, mate. At all. Obviously, this is how we lined up the last game. Slightly bigger picture. I've been calling for this formation for such a long time, the 4-2-3-1. There's not really anything I would change about that. Anything from you, Paul? For us, anything you would change?
I would keep it the same. 100%. I would keep it the same. I wouldn't change anything. I'd line up exactly the same way. It's simple as that. Really, there's not really much more I could go into. Yeah, no, definitely. I would keep.
No place for Felipe Anderson to come back in.
It's really difficult, mate. I mean, I want to see Felipe Anderson playing games. I think he's easily one of our best players when he's on it. But who do you drop? I think at the minute I don't think
Fornals picks himself as well now.
Fornals has to play. Antonio has to play. I think Aller has to play as well.
Bowen has to play.
Bowen play. So then where are you putting Anderson in? I can't see.
It's a good problem to have, though. Very good problem.
Yeah, it's a great problem. The only way I think that you could fit all of those in and Anderson is if you dropped Fornals back, took Noble out maybe, put Fornals in Noble's position and then brought Anderson on a bit further up. But it's not saying I wouldn't change it. It's like you say, mate, it's a really nice problem to have. But I don't know where Anderson fits in at the minute.
My question about Anderson would be, when he had his opportunity, did you think he made himself undroppable?
That's a good point, mate. That's a very good point. And I really like Anderson. He's one of the ones, that I give a bit more time to. I forgive him, like Paul's very much like that with Lanzini. Yeah, that's a really good point you make, mate. At a Bournemouth game, he scored that goal. I thought might have turned the corner here. He just didn't, did he? He hasn't quite.
But
he doesn't look like
he's a good player. You can't, just because he's a good player, you can't look at him every game and go, "Oh, he's a good player. He's class. He is class."
No, that's right,
next
mate.
game he'll do it. Next game he'll do it. Next game he'll do it. If Bowen and Fornals come in and do it, you can't drop him.
You've got to let them have a run in the team, haven't you? You've got to let them make their own mistakes or play their way out of the team, like the others have. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to ask you for a little prediction, guys. I'm going to say 2-2. I think we'll get a point. I think it'll be a very good point as well. If we do get a point, I'll be happy with a point. But you, Paul?
I'm getting my optimism back now. It's all going wrong, isn't it? So do you know what? I'm going to say. I think we're going to win. I'll say 2-1. I'll say 2-1.
You, Andy, mate?
I'm going to go Desmond as well, mate.
I'll tell you how we'll do this now. We've got about 5 minutes left. After, obviously, the result, the weekend, obviously, successful protest, a little bit more positivity about the club. Where do you stand on relegation, mate? Do you think we will have enough when we get to May? Or you maybe one of those, a bit like me, ask me in 3 games' time?
God, that's a tough one, mate. Are there 3 teams worse than us in the league? I guess is the question, isn't it?
Fees Norwich seem to have found a little bit of form now.
Yeah, I know. See, a month or so ago, I was writing off Watford, and I was saying they're definitely gone. We can discount them 100%, and now they're back in it. If Norwich win a couple of games, they're back in it. Our fixtures are not particularly kind for the next few coming up with Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs to play. It's going to be so close, mate. If you ask me for a prediction, I think we will just scrape out of relegation. Just.
Yeah. But you, Paul, has your opinion changed since Saturday?
I can't really say yes, mate. I can't, as much as I want to. Off the back of, we played really well against Liverpool, but then Liverpool lost 3 in the last 4 now. So that don't really say that much at the minute. And then, a good result against Southampton, but Southampton, I don't know. We always get a result over them. I still think, it's so difficult to call now. It really is, because we could go either way. We could go on a little run and we could end up way out of it. Or all it's going to take is another couple of defeats, and that's it. The edge drop, and all of a sudden, we're gone. It's just so hard to call. So hard to call, mate. I don't know. If you had to say 100% now, do I think we'll stay up? Right now, I would say yes. But again, it's like Andy says, only just. But I don't know, mate. That could literally all change next week. Who knows?
That's it. In 3 games' time, it could all change.
Yeah.
Right. I think we'll leave it there, because we've kept Andy for a long time, and I bet he wants to get home. He's pulled over so kindly for us to do this video. Really appreciate you coming on, mate.
No worries.
I really wanted you on. Yeah. Thanks for obviously filling us in on everything that's going on. Luck with your next one. Obviously, I reckon you've got a real big thing to announce, and I'm looking forward to the next announcement. What the next protest is going to be, and I really hope, mate, you're successful for us West Ham fans and getting them out of our club, mate. I really do. That's it from us.
I appreciate kind words, mate, and I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who's, including yourselves, who's backed them and put us where we are. We wouldn't be anywhere without support, So it's down to each and every person. It honestly is.
That's it, guys. If you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. Until next week, guys. Come on, you irons. Keep believing. Check out Hammers United. Get involved if you haven't already. Let's go.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.